Good morning, guys. It's Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to another episode of Monday Marathon e-waste processing. We have a huge pile of stuff here this week from the local charity shop. Every one Monday I pick up what they don't want. They put it all in a pile for me because they don't want to have to deal with it. And rather than it go to the e-waste stream or the crates out at the transfer station where it all basically gets, I don't know, how much do they actually save? Not sure. But I want to keep as much as I can in circulation. So let's go through it all, see what we can save this week, how much we might be able to make a bit of money out of it. We might find something to scrap. Who knows? Let's start on maybe this box and see what we've got. Okay, I think we'll put this crate down on the bench. We'll move the other ones off the bench so I've got a bit of room to work, and we'll go through it systematically, work out what we're going to do with each item. We get a good sprinkling of stuff from the charity shop. You never know when people are cleaning out their shed, and you get some nice vintage stuff. We get a nice selection generally of household kitchen appliances. There's often electronic stuff, some of which I don't really even know what it is. That's a Sony something or other. Don't know that off the top of my head. Get a lot of lamps. This one looks like maybe it's a new lamp in box. Oh, okay, that's good. That should sell okay. So a lot of them, given that they're donated, should be in good working order, and you would expect people to donate stuff that's clean, but it's not always the case. That one's a waffle maker. It looks okay. It's a bit grubby, but I think it'd clean up okay. And I'm able to sell these quite successfully, fairly cheaply through the shop. They're not worth a great deal. I do test and tag them, and as long as there's no damage and they test safe, give them a bit of a clean up. We usually try for $10 on these sort of things. If they sit at the shop for too long, I drop them down to $5. I have a fairly strict policy with my e-waste. I don't like it hanging around too long because, for those that don't know, my shop is predominantly an antiques and collectibles and second-hand shop. Don't want to have too much modern stuff, but I am really keen on saving a lot of this e-waste from going into the waste stream. This one's a large sandwich maker or something, is it? Let's have a look. Oh, it's a pie maker. We get a lot of pie makers. That one should clean up okay. And I've had a few people suggest ways of cleaning these with wet paper towel, or someone even suggested baby oil first, and maybe that helps dissolve the cooking oils. I'm not sure. I've had pretty good success just heating them up and using paper towel just to mop up all the oil when it becomes quite fluid. They generally clean up pretty quickly, pretty easily. And again, we'll try $10 on that. And, you know, we've had good success selling them. So we'll go through those a bit later. We'll clean them up. I just want to get this one box off the bench. What's this? Flexi curlers. Interesting. Still in their packet. I don't know how old they are. I think they've got a bit of age to them. The plug doesn't have the sleeves on the pins. So possibly 1990s or so. Maybe earlier. Made in Hong Kong. Generally indicates sort of 1970s stuff. There's no barcode on the box, so it probably is back to the 70s. Pizzazz by Gold Air. Not sure if they'll have a market. They look to be in pretty good condition. I'm not sure if it's missing some of the little hook things. Don't even know how to use it. I'm certainly not going to curl my hair. But we'll test it, make sure it's safe. Someone might jump at it. We really only need to get $5 for it. In fact, technically, I could just give stuff away, and if people use it, it does save it from going to waste. But I obviously want to make a bit of money for my time. So, yeah, we'll check that one out too, make sure it works. Let's get this crate off the table, and we'll deal with this stuff first, I think, before we get another box. Okay, just quickly, we'll plug these a couple of heating items into the appliance tester and make sure that they work all right. Let's check if we've got an earth. Yes, it passes the safety tests. Is it warming up? We have a red light on there. That's getting warm. And so is the top. So that appears to be in good working order. Just needs a clean up. We shall get to that shortly. Let's test the pie maker. Same deal, make sure we've got a good earth. And yes, that tests out fine. The light's on. And I don't think I've ever had one of these that doesn't heat up. I think the elements are pretty indestructible. The biggest trouble you get with these old things is that they get scratched a lot when people try and clean them, particularly if they burn something. Once the Teflon coating's scratched up, you really don't want to use them. That stuff's not good to ingest. They can, of course, go rusty if they're left in poor conditions. They can also just be so filthy dirty that it's not worth the time to clean them up. You know, I don't mind doing a quick clean, and even though I don't really get much, or don't really get very good value for my time, I'd rather not spend an hour trying to clean something up. That one's working fine. We'll give that a clean up once we get back to it. Now this lamp, is it really new in box? Pendant lamp. So it's a hanging lamp from the ceiling. Certainly looks like it's new. And is it a, oh yeah, there's the mounting button. Yep, so it's never been wired up. Brand new. That's a metal cover or shade. Probably aluminium. Takes an Edison screw-in globe. So that will certainly have a market. It's a steel shade, it's not aluminium. I think we'd probably get $10 for that, especially with the box with it. I don't know what they would have retailed for. Probably not very expensive. But then again, have you ever been to a lamp shop? It surprised me how dear they are. All right, so that's fine. We don't have to do anything with that. I think we'll get $10 for that on its own. Let's see what this electronic Sony thing is next. Okay, Sony, an amplifier perhaps? A surround sound amplifier. Oh, here's a tag. Yes, it's a surround amplifier. Model TA-SA100WR. Made in China, fairly modern. Not sure what goes in that slot there. It looks like some sort of cartridge. And it says pairing, so I'm guessing it's like a Bluetooth amplifier. The speakers are wired. Its mains powered, but I'm not sure what that slot's for. I'll have to check out online to see if these are worth a lot. Sony at least is a reasonable brand, even though they're probably all made in the same factory these days. But pretty hard to test it, I guess, especially because we don't know what that part does, and I wouldn't know what to Bluetooth it to unless you could just Bluetooth it to your phone. But I don't want to waste a lot of time testing something like this. I think we'll just probably put that in the shop for $5 and someone can take a punt. I find that's the best way with these things. I'll just plug it in to make sure it's safe and check the cord, but we won't actually be able to have it operational. We'll see if it powers up, I guess. Now it's double insulated, so there's no earth. Let's turn the appliance tester on. We don't actually have any metal just at the back, so we need to check if there's any leakage, but that still passes the tests. Oh, there's metal on the bottom. Does it power up as such? Yes, the light comes on. Green light. I guess green means good. So it appears to work, but I don't know for sure. Just going to be a $5 bargain for someone that knows about these things. I will check eBay to make sure they're not very expensive items, because I could possibly eBay it if it is an expensive one. Even untested, we'd probably do okay. So I'll check that out. Okay, time to try and curl my hair. Probably not. Let's get this out of the box and try not to damage the box. It is a vintage item. Gold Air were certainly a more 70s brand. They used to make heaters and things. So nothing else in the box. So I don't know if some of these curlers, I guess that's what you curl your hair around. Maybe this just heats them up. I don't know how it works. I'm not going to try and work it out. But there are 3 missing. I'll check this on eBay as well. It's yeah, made in Hong Kong. It's all plastic case. It's going to be double insulated. We've got nothing to test there with our earth probe. Let's plug it in and see if it powers up. And we have a red light. I guess it's just a heater. So I might leave that on for a bit just to see if it generates any heat. Alright, I'll quickly check online to see if they have any sort of collectability or whether people actually use the things still. These things get very hot, so yeah, it works fine, assuming they're supposed to get that hot. I found one online on eBay. The seller was asking $80 for it. This is missing 3 of them because the one I saw was complete. I don't think it had the box, well, look, it hasn't sold for 80. I think that's ambitious. I reckon we'll just put, oh, we might try. No, let's just go $10. I'll move them on. I think someone will buy it for 10. quite retro. It has a Kmart price sticker here. The price is torn off or rubbed off. But Kmart came to Australia around about 1970, I think. So given that there's no barcode, kind of dates it before 1980. And it wouldn't have been one of the first items to sell in Kmart Australia. So I would suggest late 70s would be my approximation for the date. It certainly looks retro. Hairstyle, yeah, around about late 70s. Anyway, pretty cool. But yeah, we'll just put $10 on it. Someone will love it, I'm sure. Whether they use it is another matter, but who cares, really? On to the next box now, and I can see we've got another pendant lamp. I did quickly check these online, and they're available through Bunnings, which is Australia's largest hardware chain. Still current stock, and they retail at about $30. So I think we'll get $10 each for these. They're brand new. Obviously the box has been opened, but they've never been used. So another $10 hopefully. That was easy and quick. Now what have we got in here? Twist straightening iron. So it's a hair care product. A straightener in its original box. Oh, interesting looking piece. Is that just a cover for it? I guess it is. Oh, is it supposed to be? Oh, it's well, I thought it was bent, but then it's called a twist straightening iron, and obviously it's meant to be like that. So that looks undamaged, pretty well as new, just needs a little bit of a clean. But geez, that looks like it's actually melted and warped, but it's clearly the way it's meant to go. Don't know what advantage that has. So that just needs a clean up and a test. Don't know if it's supposed to have a clip on the end or not. But anyway, we'll check that out to see if they're a valuable one. What brand was it? It doesn't actually... Oh, Revolution. So we'll check that out, because sometimes some brands are like top of the line and worth a lot of money. But if it's just a basic line item, budget one, well, won't get very much. But we'll check that out. Pretty cool in the original box though. We have a bag. We have a power board. This is one designed for your stereo, television, DVD. So you have an always on, and then you have one that can be switched, I gather. So that's just a power saving thing. Yeah, there's the switch. So again, I have, similar to the last video where we had some smart eco switches, they don't seem to sell that well. This one might be better because you can turn each one on from a little foot switch here. Maybe it's got a timer in it. So we might get 10 for that. I have to check out and see what they're worth to buy new. I think you can still buy these. At very least we should get 5 as long as it tests okay. It certainly looks okay. Electronics, what have we got here? A DVD player maybe? Blu-ray player. It's a Sony. I'm not sure if we have a remote for it though. It's a, yeah, Blu-ray disc DVD player. I sell a lot of these through the shop, and they're good for demoing on TVs, to have some TVs playing some things. Sony would be a pretty expensive one. It's quite scuffed on top, but it doesn't look damaged otherwise. But I hope I've got a remote for it, or maybe I've got one in a box somewhere. So we can easily give that a test. And just looking though, we have a, not an Australian plug. I'm not sure what the 2 round pins are. So I'll have to check that one out. I'm not sure if I've got an adapter for that. We'll see if it's an expensive model. If it's not, it might just be scrapped, because it certainly looks very scuffy on the casing. Might not even work, I guess. Alright, we have a clock radio, a Panasonic, a little bit of an older style one. Probably 1990s, I guess. But clock radios are pretty popular. We've sold quite a few lately, so we'll give that a check. And we just have one beater from some sort of kitchen blender or mix master. Don't know if we've got that in another box, so we'll keep that until we find out. Okay, we have in this bag another clock radio, a TIAC. Slightly older model again. It has a battery there, which most clock radios have provision for a battery, so that if the power goes out, you don't have to reset your time. Alright, and certainly an old double adapter, but it has got the sleeves on the plug, so probably into the early 2000s, that one. These old Bakelite double adapters I tend to just scrap for the brass pins. I've got a whole box of them somewhere. We might do a time trial on scrapping them to see if they're worthwhile. They do come apart very easily, and there's a decent amount of brass in them. Instructions for something. Oh, that goes with the hair curler. And what else have we got in here? Just a battery, which we'll test, because I get a lot of batteries out of the e-waste that are still perfectly fine. That bag can go to the shop. We'll use that to give to customers when we always reuse second-hand bags. Oh, it's got a tear in the corner. Okay, it's paper. It can go in the recycle bin. That's the end of that tub. Right, let's process this stuff and test it. Let's start by testing the battery, and then I can decide if I'm keeping it or if it's going in my bucket for battery recycling. So I'm looking for at least 1.5 volts. 1.18. Okay, so that's flat. I want to get at least 1.5 or more, because even if it's 1.49, it means it's down a bit, and of course we're not testing under load. So quite often if they're down a bit and you put them under load, they just break down completely. Generally over 1.5 is pretty good, especially if I just need a battery for a clock. But this one's going in the recycling. Alright, while we're here and close up, let's just pull this double adapter apart in the interests of processing everything in the box. But as I said, I might do a time trial on these one day just to see if it's actually worth the time to pull them apart. But the old ones usually just have the one screw. They pop open. I do get a screw to put in with my hardware. It's a nice long machine screw, and the brass pins really just literally fall out. Sometimes the earth is a bit stuck. If they get stuck, just give them a hit with a hammer. So then we just have some Bakelite and a handful of brass. Doesn't weigh a lot individually, but they come apart so quickly that I think doing a few of these in a row would produce quite a fair weight of brass. They're just riveted, so there's no metal in it. They're all brass. If you're in doubt, just check them with a magnet and they can go straight in the brass bin. So yeah, I'll do a time trial at some stage and just see how we can go in maybe an hour or say half an hour of pulling these apart, because I have a large box of them at the moment. I do keep any modern ones, but the old ones I don't want to sell. Quite often the Bakelite can be either cracked or just unsafe, and of course it doesn't have the plastic sleeves on the pins, so I just scrap these. The 2 clock radios now, this TAC one, which I think is probably 1990s or early 2000s. We'll plug it in and see if it powers up. I think this one, it does need a bit of a clean, but I think we'd probably ask about $10 for this one if it works. We have power. Does it have an on-off switch or something? Why isn't the light flashing? Oh, okay. Be careful you don't confuse your cords. I've actually plugged the Panasonic in. I didn't realise the cords crossed. Okay, so it's flashing red LED. So I'm not sure if we can alter the display brightness. It's pretty bright though in the shed, so it's probably perfectly fine at night. Looks like it's going to work. Let's try the radio. Oh, the switch was a bit stuck. There was an extra switch. Alright, that seems to be working. Antenna wire, let's see if we can pick up any stations. Here we are, we're on FM. We've got a buzz, we're not getting any stations at all. And the reception's not brilliant in my shed, but we should be able to get something other than that buzz. Because other than the normal FM hiss, there's a weird buzzing going on. So I think it might have a fault. It's a shame, because I think this is probably a $20, $25 retro almost Panasonic clock radio. And I did have a quick look online. Someone in the UK was looking to sell one for about, oh, what did I see, about $40, or one maybe have sold for $40. So I think it's starting to get into the realms of collectability, especially with the red LEDs. But we're not having any FM action other than a buzz. Let's try AM, which of course doesn't use the wire for the antenna. Okay, AM works. Yeah, that works very well. But FM, for some reason, I think we have a fault. So rather than sell it, I think I might put that in my project box that's like the size of an Olympic swimming pool, and I might pull it apart and have a look. It might have a dodgy capacitor. It's certainly old enough to have capacitor issues. Mind you, electronics don't have to be that old to have capacitor issues. So maybe something in the FM circuitry that's playing up and not allowing it to tune properly. It's old enough and cool enough to have a look at. So as far as price goes or anything, I'm not going to sell it. That's just going to be absorbed into my huge project pile. And if I get organised, we might have a look soon and see if we can sort it out. If I can't fix it, it's still saleable, I guess, as a AM radio clock. The clock appears to work. We'd probably just put $10 on it though, but I'd like to fix it up. Okay, let's see if we can plug the TAC one in this time. There's only one cord on the bench, so I shouldn't get confused. Power it up. Okay, we have the green LEDs. They're flashing fine. I'm not sure if you can see that through the camera. Let's see if the radio works on this one. On. FM, where's our volume? I can hear something. Volume's around this side. I know what the problem is. It's my ring light. So maybe the other one didn't have a fault after all. Let's turn that off. Okay, the ring light introduces a lot of bad noise and radios in the shed here. I guess the switch mode power supply on it just isn't shielded very well. Let's see if we can get a station on this one. The antenna wire isn't uncoiled, but... Okay, that one's going to work fine. I'll turn that down. Again, there's still a lot of interference in the shed, but at least we could pick up something. We better try the other one again quickly. Okay, I just went for a short walk and plugged it into a power point in our laundry, and it works beautifully and it picks up heaps of stations. I've obviously got a lot of interference in the shed, and there might be something I've added recently that is causing a lot of interference and noise on FM radios. So I'll have to be aware of that, testing them in the shed. Maybe I should go around the shed with one of these radios set to a definite channel and turn everything on and off to see what's actually creating the noise, because it's a bit annoying. Anyway, they both work perfectly. I'm probably going to go $25 on that after a clean up, and I think it'll sell fairly quickly. I could even eBay it, but I like to have them in the shop, and I don't need to eBay everything at the moment. I'm not going to add, I'll add this to the list, but I'll make an adjustment on our list today because it's not something I want to discount. I kind of like it, whereas the other one, the TAC, we'll just put $10 on it. If it doesn't sell quickly, it'll be dropped to $5. So that's the normal procedure for that one. This one will be more of a collectible item in the shop, and we'll stick for our $25, and I think we'll get it eventually. There we go, those two cleaned up very well, just with a wipe over with Armor All and a little scrub with a toothbrush. Excellent, I'm very happy with those. Time now to test this Sony Blu-ray player. I found an adapter to change the plug. I think it might be a Chinese plug. And we can power this on now. It's saying hello on the front screen. Okay, it's connected through the HDMI cable. So it looks like it's going to work. Let's see if the door opens. Or the tray. There we go, it's got a DVD in it. Bonus, it's amazing how many times I get DVDs in them. Anyway, let's see if it plays. So the tray works fine. I checked these out on eBay. I didn't find this exact model, but I found similar. They weren't selling for very much. I think they're about 10 or 12 years old. But there's certainly a market still for DVD players. Looks like it's reading okay. Interesting, that's Swedish. Oh, okay. So that disc may be from overseas and doesn't work in this area. Let's put one of my discs in. Not sure, different region perhaps. Here's my regulation test DVD. Hurricane, I've never actually watched the whole film. I just watch bits of it when I'm testing things here. Let's see if that works. Okay, so this is a different region. And I can't play DVDs. Well, that makes it a little less desirable. I think we may just scrap it, because I don't think it's of much value anyway. I don't have a remote for it, and it hasn't got an Australian plug. So given that I've seen them online in good condition with a remote sell for very little, only $20 odd, this one doesn't have a remote. It's badly scratched up. I'd have to change the plug or provide an adapter. So I think we'll just scrap this. It's going to have a decent board in there, but that's, not much value, but I think we'll scrap this one out. Can't save them all, and at least we'll get some value from scrapping it. Okay, let's amputate the cord. I'll chop the plug off it. Is that a Chinese plug? I think they are. So we'll get a little bit of value for the cord. Now some of you might tell me off for scrapping something when it might have had a market, but you know, I can't save everything, and I've got to keep moving. I've got so much of this e-waste to deal with, and realistically we do save a very high proportion of it that would normally all go straight into the e-waste bins if it wasn't for me. So allow me the pleasure to scrap some things, because it's fun. It doesn't have to go back to bed together. We can be a bit brutal. There we go. Not much of a board in there, is there? Just a little logic board, the DVD player, and a power board under here. So I don't think there's really much we want to save out of this. Okay, a little switch mode power supply. I don't think I need any of those parts. I've saved a few of these for various parts. Sometimes I'm looking for a capacitor or something. I think we'll just take this board out, and the rest of it can go to e-waste then. There we go. I have a little board that can go in with mid-grade boards, weighs hardly anything, and the rest of it is just going to e-waste. So not really any value there, but at least we've processed it. For the sake of another 5 minutes, I decided to pull it a bit further apart. The frame there can all go in the pressing steel, a bit of plastic for the bin. I'm going to hang on to the power supply because I knew it works. Obviously we just tested it, and yes, I did short the capacitor out before I handled it, but I know that's a working power supply. It's a replaceable module, or I might need parts off it down the track. It's worth hanging on to that for now. I also thought I don't need the control panel, it can go to e-waste, but I might just hang on to the CD or DVD drive, because I know that worked as well, and it might, you know, it's got a good belt to open the tray, it's got some motors, just spare parts if I'm repairing one of these. And being a Sony one, they should be, you know, probably quite okay. It may not ever have done a lot of work. Manufactured date of 2013. Anyway, we've scrapped it out. We're saving a few bits for possible parts later, a little bit of hardware, and a board just for mid-grade boards to sell for scrap, and a cord, of course. Next thing to test is this power board with the timer and the switches. It's a smart power board, and I think these were an initiation of the government back at the time to get households more energy efficient. So they may have even been freebies in Victoria, a bit similar to the smart switches that I had the other day, and the reports on those were they weren't actually very successful and most people didn't use them. I'm not sure about how these power boards went. So it powers up, a little timer thing. It switches and timer. Yes, you can hear it switch the sockets on, or maybe that's on, yeah. Okay, so it's probably, I'm not sure if it's a timer or not, but it turns each of these on. Now this plugs into my appliance tester, and it just makes sure that the earth is okay. And if I just show you the screen of the tester, it also lights up these two lights here to show that the polarity is right, so it hasn't been wired wrong or anything like that. And it passes on all categories, so that's good. I've just got to try each outlet and make sure it passes on all of them, and that one's up the other way. That's unusual, so that's good. That's good. I've got to be careful with this plug. It hasn't got the sleeved pins, so you do have to be careful plugging it in live. And that one's not going in. I think that's got a bent socket. Yeah, it's not going in properly, so there's an issue with that. So I'm not going to actually pass this as safe. It's not the pin, it's something in there that's either bent out of shape or something, but I can't get that. Oh, it did then, but it's very tight. So yeah, I'm not going to try and sell that. I don't think it's good enough, so I'm just going to scrap this out as well. We won't do that on camera today, but basically I was only going to ask about $5 for it, and we've got so much cord with it, and there's probably a decent amount of brass in those sockets that you know, we're not going to get $5 worth of scrap, but we're going to get a bit of scrap. So rather than try and sell it with one of the sockets being a bit faulty, I'm just going to scrap that out. Won't do that on camera, but you can just imagine that I've chopped the cords off and maybe smashed the thing open, got a little bit of brass out of it, and we'll call that one processed as well. So all we have to go from this box is test this hair straightener, and make sure that it's safe. It's certainly in good cosmetic condition. Let's plug it into the appliance tester. It doesn't have any metal other than the pads, so I don't think it's got any earth leakage issues, and it's powered on. Let's see if something works. There's a switch. Doesn't seem to power up. I have the right cord this time. Oh, there we go. You've got to hold it on for a bit. So it's warming up. Oh yeah, that's getting hot very quickly. And that one as well. So it's working fine. Looks like it tests safe. Let's make sure that switch is okay. Oh, the power cycles through the different settings. So you can go to the hottest setting, and then one clicks back to the lowest, and you've got to hold it on to power it off. So it's like it's a multi-function switch. Hold it on for a bit to power it on, then cycle through the settings, and then hold it on for a bit to power it off. That works fine, and that's getting, I'm not going to touch the metal pads, but it's getting quite warm, so that's good. Works fine. I had a quick look online for these. There was a few online overseas. They were selling, but not for very much, second-hand. You know, the equivalent of about 15 Australian dollars plus postage. I don't know how expensive they were to buy, but I'm just going to I'll just wipe this over so it looks better with the original box, and we'll put $10 on it. Next box, and there's one more box after this, so we'll try and keep going. It's going to be a bit of a marathon, this video. We have a Sunbeam reverser grill. I'm not sure what reverser grill means. And oh, there we have another beater, so we might have a Mixmaster somewhere in this lot. This is fairly dirty, but I think nothing a bit of a scrub wouldn't fix. It looks clean enough underneath. So is that electrical? I'm assuming, yeah, it has a plug going this end. So it's an electric grill. The base looks pretty good. Not overly dirty, that's all good. Probably quite a handy gadget, this one. Basically like an electric barbecue plate or a griddle plate. Probably excellent for doing steaks. So really it just needs a bit of a clean and to test to see if it works. I don't think it has a cover, but we do need a cord for it. So if we haven't got the cord, it's not much good. All right, we'll see if there's a cord for that. What else is in this box? Do we have oh, it's an amplifier. Digital amplifier. Sony. That's cool. It's got a DVD player. It's a DVD home theater system. All right, maybe that's where that Sony amplifier thing we had before works off this perhaps. All right, so they may go together. Ah, this cartridge thing. Maybe this communicates to the surround speaker amplifier, or maybe it's interchangeable. I'm not sure. I'll have to see what these are worth. I guess we're going to have to try and test it. I don't have any speakers, or at least none with it. So that's what's in that bag. What else we got in here? Just some Christmas decorations. You all know how I dislike Christmas decorations. Merry Christmas. So they're just little light up wall hangings. I suppose we can plug them in and see if they work. And the item to flip today, or this week. Each week I try and find something to buy out of the charity shop while I'm there. Sometimes I get some cool stuff, sometimes I get quite a lot. Bit of a struggle this week to find anything. This was just $1. It's made in Taiwan, which would suggest it's maybe 1980s. Blue glass. Don't think the cork's original. I think it's just a champagne cork, but it fits quite well. So it could be just a vase, or it could be like a little decanter type bottle. I'm just probably going to put $5 on it. Being blue, it'll sell okay. Only cost me $1. All right, let's get this box off the bench. We'll test the Christmas stuff, and then we'll have to have a look at this Sony home theater thing. Okay, quick check on the Christmas lights. Oh, there we go. So not very complicated, just some lights. Oh, they're not all working. There's a couple of blown ones there. I think these can be freebies at the shop. The last lot of Christmas lights I had in last week's video, I put out for free and someone come and got them, so that's good. I'd rather someone grab them and use them than have them thrown out. Does this one work? Yes, it does. A little bit faded, this one. It's probably been in the sun for a fair bit. All the globes appear to be working in this one. Anyway, I'm just going to put the two together for free at the shop and someone can help themselves. And maybe next Christmas they'll have some nice decorations to use. Let's get the last box up here and just see if there's any other parts to this home theatre thing and if the cord's here for the electric grill. What do we got in here? Oh, there's our mixer. Had to be somewhere. So these should fit in here. Okay, it's only a cheap supermarket brand. They're almost disposable, these things, but if it still works okay, we could possibly get $10. Bit of a cleanup. So we'll check that soon. Here we have a waffle bowl. What's a waffle bowl? And how does it open? Here we go. Oh, interesting. It makes a large round waffle. A waffle cup, or a waffle bowl, I guess. Alright, well that looks clean enough inside. It's undamaged. It's a Target brand, I think the same as the other waffle maker. So, same deal with that. We'll just give it a bit of a safety test, a bit of a wipe over, and we'll probably try $10. It looks hardly used. What is this? It's a Smart Home Mirabella Genio. I'm none the wiser. It's a light. Laser aperture. It's got a switch on it. It needs a power supply, 5 volts. A smart star projector. I'm having trouble reading that. Maybe it just projects a star on the wall. I have to find 5 volts and see if it works. That one's a new one on me. Now we have a chocolate fountain. Oh, it's a bit dirty, this one. And I gather that's what this is for. And I don't exactly know what a chocolate fountain is. Maybe it melts the chocolate and you have like a chocolate waterfall. Don't know, what's the point? I'd rather just eat the chocolate. There's a book for our waffle maker. Ah, there's a cord for our grill. Excellent. What else is in here? That's it. So I'll have to look this one up. It might be a bit of a gimmick. I don't know if it's even worth cleaning up. Do people use these things, or are they sort of something that you buy with the kids and use once and never ever get out again? Looks like, oh no, it hasn't lost feet. It's adjustable at the front. All right, it appears to be all there. I'll do a quick check on that to see if it's worth cleaning up. We can test our grill now. I'll find a 5 volt supply for that thing and see what it does. And a couple of appliances to test. And then we'll clear the bench off and have a look at that Sony home theatre thing. And then we're finished all the stuff. We need to look at the lists then and see how we've gone previous weeks and see what sort of value we can get out of this lot. Not very much has gone to Ewaste, which is good. Okay, let's get this bench cleaned off. We'll test the mixer and see if it works okay. It's had a bit of work. It's actually, the name Contempo is worn off a bit. It's got a few scuffs. It's a bit dirty, but let's see how it goes. Oh, we've got a broken, I thought it was making a bit of a rattle noise. We've got a broken beater. Seemed to sound alright otherwise. I think I've got some beaters at the shop for it. One of them's okay, but the other one's broken. It's not worth trying to fix. And I don't want to put too much effort into it, but I think I've got some beaters at the shop. I've got some odd ones, so we might be able to match that one up. This one can just go in the scrap. I'll just wipe it over. We're only going to put $5 on this, assuming I can find another beater for it. If we can't, it'll probably just go to the e-waste, but we'll give that half a chance. $5 cleaned up. Test safe, so that's all good. Now let's test this waffle maker. And well, it's a little oily. We'll have to clean it up a bit. power it up. Yep, it tests safe. And it looks pretty clean. I wouldn't be surprised if it's only been used once. So that's fine. We can put a tag on that one. Nice and clean on the outside. I'll just let it warm up and I'll wipe any oily bits away. But pretty well that presents as new. There's light on the front. It's warming up nicely. Yep, very good. Okay, that's a good one. We'll go $10 on that. And this chocolate fountain, I did check them online. They sell okay. Some brands can sell for quite a bit. I saw quite a few listed at around $50 or so. Some even sold. I think this is a cheaper brand, but it's in okay condition. It just needs a clean. And apparently it just melts the chocolate to like a gooey consistency and augers it up through the middle. And then it flows over and flows down the sides. And I guess it's like a party thing. You can dip your biscuits or whatever in the chocolate, dripping chocolate. I don't know. As I said before, I'd just happily just take the block of chocolate and eat it on its own. So let's see if it works. I guess all it has to do is warm, and then of course the auger has to move. So let's power it up. We've got no earthing issues. It passes. It's good. Now we'll turn it to heat, and then flow, I assume, operates the little auger in the middle. Oh, look at that. So that works fine. And as long as the bowl is heating up, oh yes, it's getting warm. All right, I won't let it heat up too much. I'll turn that off. I think it'll clean up better when it's cold. I don't want, oh, it's actually got quite hot. So, all right, it works perfectly fine. I'm probably just going to put $10 on it. I'm not sure if this was an expensive one or a cheaper one. It's certainly got no issues. And it's not actually branded that I can see. So I would imagine it's a cheaper supermarket brand. But it's obviously dirty from chocolate, which you would expect if it's flowing everywhere and people are dipping things in it. So it should clean up pretty easily. Probably just $10. We'll put a tag on it. So yep, that gets rid of that one. So now the time has come to get this big monstrosity off the bench. It's a reversible, because underneath you have a nice flat hot plate. So it's a really good electric barbie, really, a barbecue plate. So it just drops on there. We can do either side, and we'll plug it in to see if it works. And also in the box was the cleaner for the other side and a scraper for this side. So it's only plastic, but I guess it'd clean it all right. So let's power it up and turn it on. Well, it's powered up here. Let's make sure there's an earth. Yes, it earths good. So it's safe to use. I can feel it heating up already. And as long as the thermostat works, I'm not going to clean this one because we have a family member that can make use of this. So if they want it for nothing, that's perfectly fine, but I'm not going to clean it. They can clean it. It tests out okay. It appears to work beautifully. It'd be a pretty handy unit, actually. It'd be great for cooking up some snags or a steak on the other side. The thermostat seems to work. It clicks in and out. So very good. I looked them up online. They weren't far short of $200 to buy these things. So if I was to clean it up and sell it, I'd probably put about $50 on it, or 30 or 40, depends. Probably start at 50, and I reckon a camper or someone would love it. You could probably run it off a generator, although it does draw a fair bit of current, and I can feel that radiating quite a lot of heat now. So excellent unit, and I don't have to clean it, so that's great. And it passes a safety test. So we can get that off the bench now. And all we have to look at, I'll have to see if I can find a 5-volt power supply to test this thing. And then we'll just look at that Sony unit, and we're pretty well finished. I've just got back from the shop and I found a power pack for this light show thing. And even though it's not super dark in the studio, you can see that it projects like a galaxy scene, and it actually spirals. It's pretty cool, actually. It'll look awesome if it was dark. So, and there's a button on the little gadget to, it alters colours and I think the rotation or something about that. So I'll look up while I press the button. So it gives you different colours of the celestial clouds or whatever they're called, and that's really impressive, isn't it? And it spreads out and kind of stays focused for as far as it needs to travel. So I think if I put it on the far wall, it'll look much better if it was dark in here, but if I move it to the far wall, yeah, it's not quite as bright down there, but you can see all the little dots and everything. So how's that? That's really cool. So it obviously works beautifully. I don't know that I'll sell it. I think I'll give that to my grandkids. I'm currently trying to make some sense of this Sony digital amplifier or DVD home theatre system. It says here it's a model number DAV-DZ870W. It powers up. The door comes open on its own. If I close the door, before it was just opening again, I tried to put a DVD in there and it did the same. I have got it powered up to the little test TV here and it obviously connects, but I couldn't get it to do anything. And there we go, the door's just opening again. If I put a DVD in there, it does the same thing. So I'm not sure if it's got a sensor fault. I'm not sure how old this thing is. By the look of the digital readout thing, and we can scroll through the functions, there's actually a tuner, an FM tuner. Oh, and that responds on the TV. So maybe that will work. Then there's an AM tuner, USB input, TV, satellite and cable, import, I don't know what import is, audio, DVD. But yeah, something's clearly wrong with the sensors here. And we don't have a remote for it. So I checked eBay and I did see some for sale at big money. I didn't see any actually sell. I saw some for under $100, but oh, look, that's going to keep opening. So I don't think it's worth trying to muck around and fix it. I don't think they're particularly desirable things. They're probably a bit dated now. I was going to hopefully just see if it'll play a DVD, and then at least I could sell it as a large DVD player. I'm thinking I'll put it at the shop just pretty well as it is, parts or repair, and maybe include that other little amplifier we found at the start of the video, and just put $10 on the pair. Someone can pick it up, have a play with it. They might even like to scrap it out. I probably would scrap it if I had a bit of time, but I've spent the whole day doing this video and I've got a lot more other stuff to do here. So I'm just going to take it to the shop. Let's see if that'll stay closed. Maybe if I turn it off. So I'll take it to the shop, just put $10 on it, and hopefully someone can make use of it. That's not even turning off now. It says standby. No, there we go, it's turned off. So yeah, I think that's the easy way out. I don't have time to deal with it. I certainly don't think it's worth trying to find a remote for it and try and fix it up or something. As I said, I think they're a little bit old and they're not that desirable anyway. So there we go. Someone can grab it from the shop and maybe they can get it going. That's up to them. I don't have speakers for it either. So anyway, that'll solve the problem and finish what we have to go through. We better have a look at the notepad next. And we've finally made it to the notepad. So I have a big list of items here, mostly $10 attempts, 2 pendant lamps, so they were 10 each. The Panasonic clock radio, I think, is the nicer one that we're going to try and sell. And I'm going to actually exclude this one from the discount strategy. And that can stay in the shop until I'm either sick of it or it sells. But I think we'll get our 25 for that. I don't really want to discount nice vintage stuff. The rest of the stuff will go at these prices for a couple of weeks and then we'll drop them by half, which we normally do. The mixer, yeah, just 5, assuming I can find another beater for it. And everything else as mentioned. If we can't get 10 for that Sony unit, I'll probably scrap it. It might have a pretty good board in there, but I don't want big stuff like that hanging around. But we'll try it at 10. Someone might be prepared to have a bit of a play with it. $130. A couple of good items for the family, so they would have sold well, but that's okay. I'm pleased I can help out the family. And the blue bottle we should get 5 for pretty easily. Total of $135. Not bad, but 4 boxes of stuff, and there really is hardly anything going to e-waste. The only thing we scrapped that the DVD player or the Blu-ray player, and there's just a few bits and pieces, but most of it we should be able to keep in circulation. Let's go back to the previous week. The Logitech surround sound speakers, I had someone who watched the video wanted them. Steve from Brisbane, he buys some vintage computers off me at times, and he had a similar set and he wanted this one. He actually offered me more. In fact, he gave me even a little bit more than 20 plus. He paid postage. So that was a nice bonus. Thanks, Steve. I hope they've turned up there by now. Someone has taken the Christmas lights for free, which was good. Sold the massager, sold the multi-cooker the first day. I actually haven't got the Bluetooth headphones in stock because I haven't found a charger for them. So they may float for a while until I find a power pack. Haven't sold any of our items we bought to flip though. But not bad. First weekend, we've moved a bit of stuff there. The previous week, well, we haven't sold any of the ceiling fan remote controls. I'm not sure how we're going to go there. The Sunbeam iron has sold, but the curler, the sausage roll maker and the pie maker are still there. So they'll be down to half price this weekend. I did sell that wireless charger and sterilizer though. And, oh yeah, we didn't have anything to flip this week. Well, we did, but the strainer went to my girls' cafe. So, yeah, got a bit of stuff now that's been around for a couple of weeks. That will be discounted. Not sure on the fan remotes though. I don't think it matters what price they are. You've got to find someone that wants them. Maybe I'll just put them in the shop and leave. They don't take up much room and they can sit on a shelf until someone finds them. But a few things to discount from that week. Back to part 5, and we have a few things that are still here even though they've been discounted. The little desk lamp was down to $2. That Rolly vertical cooker, that weird thing no one seems to want. So that's at $5. We'll leave them for one more week. We did sell both of the clock radios, so that's good. The food processor's gone, the Anko kettle's gone. The steam cleaner now will be discounted. It's going to go down to $25. It's had 2 weeks. Remember, the first week it was put aside for someone. They didn't come back in. So it's had 2 weeks at $50. Now it's going to be discounted. And, oh yeah, we'd already sold the Tonka helicopter last time. So not much to go really on that list. Back to week 4, and everything's gone pretty much here except that slide projector. And that's one of the ones that I'm going to circle as well. That can stay in the shop until it sells, because it's a cool item and I don't need to discount it. So everything else has gone there. We've still got the little blue bottle in the shop. I'm not really worried about that. I think we can put a line through this week. So that's good. And part 3, I think, just about finished as well. Yes, part 3 is pretty well totally finished. We had 2 good sales on eBay. We managed to sell a few things at full price, a few things at discounted price, and then a few things got down to free, and they were all taken last weekend. The only thing left is that Polk subwoofer. It's still free. I'll give it one more week, and if it doesn't disappear, I'll probably just take that to the Ewaste. But basically, everything's done. We can put a line through that episode, and parts 2 and 1 are crossed off as well. So we're getting through it all, and that's what I want to do. I want to make the lists totally finished for each week after they go through a bit of a discount process, and then the stuff just doesn't hang around forever. So there we go, guys. I've spent the whole day working through this. It really was a bit of a marathon, plus time to edit and film and everything. But I enjoy doing it, and I've managed to get it all finished. We've got a couple of good items for family. I've got some stuff to make some money on. Not really a lot of money when you consider I put the whole day into it. But it's not really about that, as I've said. And I make a bit of money out of these videos, so thanks for your support there. Also, though, what's happening too is a few of the locals that watch my channel are getting wind of once a week there's e-waste that's turned into good stuff or reverted back to usable stuff, and they're coming into the shop and looking for stuff. And some people are watching the videos and messaging me. So not all of it actually makes it into the shop. So if you see something in this video and you're local and you're interested, send me a message. Don't wait till it comes into the shop and then you come in and browse, because it may not be there. And that's good. I'm happy to get some sales out of it too. That all helps the bottom line. So thanks for watching this one. It turned out to be the longest marathon I've done so far. I don't know if I'll beat it. It'll just depend how many boxes I get next week from the charity shop. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.